Do-it-yourself home repairs are actively destroying more homes that I've seen and bank accounts than any natural disaster ever could. I'm seeing this over and over again. Look, I get it. You want to go on YouTube and it makes everything look easy, right? On YouTube. And hiring a professional, it feels expensive. But after 3 decades in real estate, I've witnessed hundreds of repair disasters. I'm telling you, the do-it-yourself movement has created a generation of homeowners who are literally one YouTube tutorial away from a financial ruin. I'm talking about families who lost their entire down payment because they tried to save $300. Couples almost divorced over a weekend plumbing project, and homeowners who created literal death traps because they thought they could handle electrical work. I've seen it happen. One story I have for you involving duct tape, you're going to love this one. An entire house's plumbing system that you won't believe what happened, that actually happened. So stick with me here until the end, the very end, because I'm revealing the one type of repair that even professional contractors say you should never attempt yourself. It's responsible for more insurance claims and catastrophic failures than any other home repair. And I guarantee you, it's not what you think it is. These stories I'm going to tell you, this is going to blow your mind. So let's get into it and listen up, because you don't want this happening to you. Okay, let's get to story number 1. I'm going to start with the load-bearing wall. I call it the Great Wall Disaster. So I had this seller, a great couple, super, super sweet people. They wanted an open concept living space because, that's what all home renovation shows right now. And they make it look so easy, right? So they got right to it. They watched some videos, they talked to some people, and they took a sledgehammer to what they thought was just a regular wall separating their kitchen and their living room. There's a lot of people do that. Unfortunately, it was a load-bearing wall. It wasn't a main load-bearing wall, but it was a load-bearing wall. And I'm not talking about oops, we need to add a beam situation. It's no, I'm talking about they got 3 swings into it before they felt the ceiling started making these really horrifying cracking noises, the kinds of sounds that, really make you wonder the whole house is going to fall down. And this is how they described it. And within minutes, they said they had visible sagging in the ceiling, cracks, it's spider webbing across the upstairs floor, and their teenage daughter's bedroom door literally wasn't going to close anymore because the whole frame had shifted. How much? It cost $47,000 to fix. That's including the emergency structural engineer. The steel beam, they had to bring the steel beam insulation in, ceiling repair, the floor leveling upstairs, new drywall, and bring everything up to code because once you start messing with structure, inspectors get involved. Plus, you want to have a detailed list of things that you can give to the new buyer when you're selling your house. They wanted to save $3,000, but the contractor quoted them for a proper removal. Instead, they paid 15 times that amount. And the one thing that really breaks my heart here is they had to delay their move by 6 months, and their kids had to switch schools mid-year, and the stress almost was really trying on their marriage. I felt really bad for them, but their story I tell to a lot of people who want to do it themselves. Do not get rid of walls, okay, guys? Not what you want to do, unless you know what you're doing. Okay, my next story, I think I want to talk about the duct tape guide. I always do a room by room with my sellers. Before I list it, I go through each room and it's, kind of walk through, identify issues and help them with how to stage the different rooms and what they get rid of and help them understand what buyers will catch, during inspections. So I'm at this house and everyone, everything's looking really good. The kitchen's real nice, the bathrooms are updated, fresh paint throughout. And then we get down to the basement. The husband casually mentioned he fixed some plumbing issues himself. And I thought, okay, what red flags here? He told me he didn't really know how to do anything that well. So I said, just show me this. And he actually was really proud of this repair. And we walked over to the PVC pipe and I shined my light on my phone, flashlight, and they're holding 2 pieces of pipe together. It's this duct tape, not even really good duct tape and, dollar store duct tape in a damp basement. And I'm like, well, is this duct tape? And he goes, yeah, it's been working great for 6 months. Saved me a couple $100. And so I had to test it. And when you test it, you have to put strain on this particular pipe, not just flush one toilet. So I turned on the water supply, let it run for, 10 minutes. And about 10 minutes later, it starts spraying everywhere, like a broken sprinkler. Like water was shooting out in multiple directions, and we scrambled and shut it off. And basically what was happening is that the tape had been slowly leaking for months. And then we brought in a real plumber. We discovered the mold behind the walls, rotted floor joists, moisture damage spreading to support structures. And the repair was like $15,000. Mold remediation, structural wood replacement, proper plumbing and rebuilding walls. A licensed plumber might have cost, what, $200 to do it right the first time. And we had to just delay the listing by a few weeks. But if I hadn't caught that during my pre-listing walkthrough, it could have blown up during the buyer's inspection or during our pre-home inspection, probably would have come up in first. But if the buyer did another one and our guy missed it, it would be coming up in the buyer's inspection, it would really kill the deal. So this is exactly why I do these reviews, these room by room reviews with everybody, because I want to make sure my seller has nothing in the way. There's nothing in the way of torpedoing the deal of this house going on the market. I want to make sure I point everything out ahead of time. That's why we do the pre-home inspection, we do the walkthroughs. And because I've done so many, my team has done so many, we know things are going to happen down the road because we've seen them before. So only one time thing has to happen. You only sell one house a year, or you only sell one house in your lifetime. We sell 10 a month, and we see everything, all kinds of stuff. And that's why you want to hire a real deal realtor, someone who's really experienced in just doing listings. And I have my whole realdealagent.com system. We're going to get into that in a minute, how I can help you find somebody in your area who just works on listings. So that's what you want when you sell a house. And my next story is, I call it the electrical shortcut, because this was really scared me. Please guys, don't work on your electrical stuff by yourself. I had a client who bought a home, and with the first week they noticed flickering lights in the garage. And they went out to take a quick look, because after watching one YouTube video about electrical wiring, he opened up the electrical panel and decided to wire gauge too small. So he spliced it in a different gauge wire, something like that. And he just twisted them together with a wire nut, whatever he did. He didn't even turn off the breaker while working on it. And 3 days later, they woke up to smoke, right? The improper connection created resistance, which created heat, which started smoldering inside the wall. And thank God they had smoke detectors that were working. And that was a nightmare. The next one is the best, I think. I call it the bathroom disaster. And it's kind of had like a domino effect. It's a perfect example how one little thing can cascade into just absolute chaos. So this homeowner, he noticed a dripping faucet, a bathroom faucet, right? Super common, right? That happens all the time. So they think, well, I'll just tighten up this, maybe replace the washer. Easy, right? So they turn off what they think is the water supply to the sink. It wasn't. It was to the entire second floor. They missed that one. And they remove the faucet, water starts bursting everywhere. They panic, they drop their wrench in the toilet tank, and the tank cracks and water starts pouring from that place as well. And they're scrambled to find the main shutoff, and they slipped on the wet floor, grabbed the towel rack for support, and it ripped it out of the wall. It was just like, oh my God, you can't even write about this. It doesn't sound like it's true, but it was. And then there's a massive hole in the drywall. They finally shut the water off. The toilet ran for like another 15 minutes. Water was seeping all through the floors and into the first floor kitchen ceiling below. Within 48 hours, they had this massive water stain, bubbling, peeling paint. So this one leaky faucet turned into new faucet, new toilet, tile repair, bathroom drywall, kitchen ceiling repair, towel rack, water damage remediation, total like $5,380. Original plumber, $125 to replace the washer. So comment below, guys. What disasters have you been involved in or heard about? I really would love to hear these, because this is crazy. Because having a real deal realtor in your sphere of influence is important. That's how we help our clients, not only during the process of selling their home, as after they move into their home. We're the realtor for life, the real estate doctor for life. And we're there for every contractor need, before, during, and after, whatever. We are the real estate doctor. We're like the real estate doctor on speed dial, and that's what you need. That's what every home seller or homeowner needs. So what's the financial and emotional toll on all this DIY repairs, do it yourself? No, real numbers. The Home Advisor here had an article that said that homeowners who attempt DIY repairs that go wrong end up spending 3 to 5 times more than hiring a professional from the start. Now, this is an article, guys. This is for real. So when you mess up, professionals charge more to fix it. They add a DIY premium, 20 to 50% extra, because undoing bad work takes longer. And like I've said, I've seen real numbers disasters. I've witnessed them. Electrical, we talked about, $3,500 to $8,000 to fix. Original electrician, $300 to $500 to fix. Or plumbing, it costs $2,000 to $6,000 because of water damage. where original plumber could have been $150 to $400. Or you have the DIY structural work of $15,000 to $50,000 to repair. If you had a proper contractor, it would have been $2,000 to $5,000. But here's what shows don't talk about: the emotional cost. I've seen marriages strained over botched repairs. One couple was in counseling because of a deck installation resulted in a $22,000 repair bill. You're living in a construction zone that you created yourself. Family upset, bleeding money, arguing with contractors. Your in-laws now making comments. People lose sleep for weeks, waking up at 3 a.m. thinking about these mounting costs. Don't do it. And of course, there's the safety hazards. Some do-it-yourself disasters aren't just expensive, they're just dangerous. I don't know if you knew this, but the National Fire Protection Association reports electrical failures are involved in 46,700 home fires yearly. And a huge contributor is amateur electrical work. I've seen gas line modifications that created carbon monoxide leaks. One family had headaches for months before discovering they were being poisoned. Improperly supported decks that collapsed during barbecues. Have you heard about those? Broken bones and lawsuits. But when you hire a licensed professional, you're paying for building code knowledge, insurance, expertise, liability protection, and some peace of mind. And when you do it yourself, and do something that you're not qualified for, you take all that risk. Your homeowner's insurance probably won't even cover it. And that's why you want to talk to a real deal realtor. So whether you're dealing with a repair disaster or buying, or you want to avoid inheriting someone else's DIY nightmares, having the right agent is crucial. Your doctor, your real estate doctor, your guy by your side. That's why I created the agent referral program, where I refer agents all over the United States to people on YouTube, people not in this area. All you have to do is go to realdealagent.com, tell me what area, your address, what you need, and I'll connect you with vetted, experienced agents. People who can spot amateur repairs work from a mile away. People who have contractors for you, free. You don't have to pay for these contractors anymore, and they actually probably give you a good deal because you're working with that realtor. I know my contractors, they jump to make sure that we get into a seller's house as quickly as possible. I just want you guys to have proper and quality representation. I've seen too many avoidable disasters. So let's get back to this. Let's learn about when to call the pros. Because after hearing these horror stories, you must be wondering, what can I safely do it myself? Here's a rule. Here's my rule. Here's what I always say. If it involves electrical, gas, structural support, or water lines, call a professional. Electrical, anything beyond changing a light bulb needs an electrician. One mistake means electrocution or house fire. Unpermitted work avoids insurance, okay? What about gas? Never touch gas lines. Leaks can cause explosions. And if you have a water heater issue, stove, dryer, fireplace, HVAC, call a pro, please. And of course, if you have structural, such as load-bearing walls, foundation, roof trusses, floor joists, you need a structural engineer and a licensed contractor. If you have major plumbing, supply lines, drain lines, sewer lines, water heaters, you can replace a flapper or tighten a faucet, but not any cutting of pipes. You need to call a pro. If you need a permit to do what you want to do, if your city requires a permit, it's not do-it-yourself, guys. And for safe do-it-yourself projects, do your research. Don't watch one video, watch 10. Read articles, check forums, review building codes, Assess this honestly, guys. Have you done this before? Do you have the proper tools? Do you understand the terminology? And if you don't, get instructions. Stop. Calculate the true costs. Materials, tools, your time, potential mess-up costs, stress, compared to 3 professional quotes, for example. Have a backup plan. Know who to call when things go sideways. Have the number ready. Pride is expensive. And start small. Never done a DIY project? Don't start with renovations. Paint a room, okay? Just paint. Get the tape out and paint. Build your skills gradually. Prevention, I think, is key, because most disaster happens from neglected maintenance and then panic fixes, okay? For example, every 3 months, you can replace your HVAC filters. The $20 you do prevents a $5,000 plus failures. Your HVAC will last a lot longer. Check for water stains around the house. Test your smoke detectors. Check under your sinks. Inspect your exterior. Every 6 months, clean your gutters. $150 versus having foundation damage. I just had that happen in my house. Water was getting in and we just had to get the gutters all fixed. It was coming in areas we didn't even know what was wrong in the house until we figured out it was from the gutters. Inspect all the caulking, check your weather stripping. Again, look at your water heater, test the garage sensors, and annually get your HVAC serviced. $200 versus $7,000 to $12,000 and replacing it. Get your chimney inspected, especially if your township expects you to have a clear certificate of occupancy, have your chimney inspection. Check your roof, flush your water heater, inspect your deck, or if you have septic, inspect that. I'd say every 2 to 3 years, you can have your whole house plumbing inspected. You can have your electrical panel checked, your foundation crack checked. So if you do the math, your gutter cleaning twice a year, it's like $300. Foundation repair from water damage, $15,000 to $30,000. So you see how it can save you money. Because preventive maintenance is always cheaper, guys, than these emergency repairs. And a big tip here is that my big pro tip I want to tell you is keep a maintenance binder. Buyers will love it. Document everything. Write down what you did, how much it costs, who did the work, and when it needs to be done. Save the receipts. Because when you go to sell your house, I'll tell you, buyers will pay more money knowing that you took care of your home and they see these maintenance records. It tells them you actually really took care of it in a way that they want to hear that you've done. Like they really, really, really love. It's a feeling that they get that it's amazing. So like I said, if you have any disasters, I want to hear from you. Drop your DIY disaster stories in the comments or if your friends had any. What's the worst you've experienced? How much did it cost? Would you DIY again? And what do you wish you'd known? Contractors and inspectors, what's the worst amateur repair you've seen? Give us the drama. Come on. I'm reading all these comments. Maybe I'll make a part 2 of this video with all your stories. That'd be cool. Now, that one repair I promised to reveal, the one pros say never to attempt. Anything, here it is, guys, is anything involving structural. I said it before, load-bearing walls is my number one, foundation and roof trusses. It causes more catastrophic failures and financial ruin than anything else. When structure fails, everything else fails. So don't do it. But DIY can definitely save you money as long as you know where the line is, okay? And the moment you start thinking or tinkering with electrical, plumbing, or structural work without the right training, you're not just risking your wallet, you're risking your sanity, your safety, and even your home's value. And speaking of value, before you pick up that next project, make sure you're not accidentally hurting your investment. Check out my next video. These are 7 home upgrades that can destroy your resale value. It breaks down the most common renovation mistakes that can cost you tens of thousands when it's time to sell. Because sometimes the smartest upgrade is knowing when not to upgrade.